Welcome. Thank you for those that are both here in person and we're unmuted, right? And those that are joining us via Zoom, and those that haven't yet seen us that will see us on YouTube when we post it online. So you are at orientation to become a Habitat Partner family for 2 builds we have happening in Rogue River, just right up the road on Dove. I want to introduce some people in the room that are here to help us throughout this evening. First and foremost, Denise James is in the back. She is our executive director. She's a great source of knowledge at the end if you have any questions. I'm also supported by a wonderful group of volunteers that help us throughout this process and partnering with families once they're selected and celebrating with you when you get to purchase your home. Those individuals make up the Family Services Committee. There's 3 of them here to help you tonight. They'll be here to answer questions. They're here to pretend like they're technical experts and help us through Zoom. But we have Shannon, Katie, and Sherry behind the computer. And,
more technical.
All 3 of them are more than able to help you at the end of this. I also want to introduce Mary Lou. Mary Lou is currently a partner family. We're just finishing up her home in Talent, and she'll be purchasing her home in August with her family, her husband and her family, and she's here tonight to help with Spanish. So if you have, si tienes preguntas en español, Mary Lou habla español también, y nosotros podemos ayudarte in this place, okay? And Mr. Gravat is also here. Joe Gravat is here, the patriarch of the Gravat family and homeowners, your future neighbors if you will become selected for the program for our development on that place. Really awesome family. So thank you for being here, Joe. And you better say all good things. All right. I have this magic wand, and if you do things right, it'll help us get through things. Please silence your cell phones if you would, please. When I worked at the bank at Greta High School, this 65-year-old man came in and his cell phone rang, and it was Say My Name by what's that Beyonce group? Destiny's Child. I looked at him like, I hope that's your granddaughter's phone. Probably daughter's phone. If you have questions, please save them for the end. If you need to write them down, jot them and write them down. You have a pen. Keep personal matters confidential. Denise, myself, and Family Services are available at the end to talk about one-off things that we don't need to share with the group. Let's keep those private. And no question's a dumb question. I do this program often, so sometimes I forget and think something is common knowledge or just forget to mention it. So feel free at the end, maybe I speed it over something, follow up on it, and let's chat about it. Be clean and courteous. We're guests in this building. I apologize for the parking snafu. The front of the building, before you go out the door, if you hang a right, there are restrooms up front. But again, just please pick up after yourself if you have any trash at the end of today. I also want to tell people, those of you that are joining us on Zoom, when we start to discuss the application, we'll screen share the application for you, but it's also currently available and has been posted to our website. So you are now able to download and print a live application. For those of you here tonight, nothing is due right now. If you read the front of your application, you have 30 days to turn it in. And there's things you need to turn in with your application that we'll talk about. So feel free to write, make notes on it. You can always print another one or get another copy as we go travel through this process. All right, so what is Rogue Valley Habitat for Humanity? We are a nonprofit organization working in collaboration with those in need and our community to build or renovate simple, decent, affordable homes. We were founded in Christian principles, but together we welcome people from all walks of faith and belief, and together we can eliminate substandard living conditions. Since our founding in 1987, we've built and completed 76 homes. We've served over 400 people, and most of those are kiddos. No offense to the parents, but they're the reason why a lot of us do this, because it's really cool to see how much this is going to change their future. We've built in Medford, Ashland, Central Point, White City, Rogue River, and Eagle Point. Now we're building in Talent, we'll be back in Ashland, and now we're back here in Rogue River. Some programs we do to work with the community, we have a Building on Faith program, Habitat for Heroes for veterans, Team Builders program, where we have teams from corporations and businesses come out and join us on the build site. And then annually, not since COVID, but probably starting again next year, we have a Women's Build program. Couple of things, we don't give away any homes. These homes are purchased. The homes are purchased via an affordable mortgage, which has always been 0% for us. And the home is a very affordable monthly mortgage that we give to you. Your mortgage payment ends up being anywhere between $650 and $900 for these homes. That includes your taxes and your homeowner's insurance. Tonight, you're applying for 2 homes that we're building in Rogue River. They're 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. It's our job to take the land that we have available to us and house as many people as we can with what we have available. Unfortunately, that's why there's a minimum household size. So households need to be 3 individuals and larger. I'd like us to stop at 6 individuals, but I know there's people living in smaller living conditions with more people in their housing than that. So we'll handle those on a one-off basis. But the industry standard for fair housing is 2 people per bedroom. So that's where the 3 comes from. This isn't an overnight process. It's much quicker nowadays, especially with this build, than it was in the past. And that's because we've already started building. You can drive by Dove Place tonight and you'll see we're already cutting the pad to get everything taken care of. So it will be faster than normal, but your work will still be just as substantial, and we'll talk about what that means for sweat equity and partnering with others. You can see what we've built there, the 2 homes at the very end, and then the Gravatt and Alfrey family next to those to the right. We don't build the Taj Mahal, but we build really, really nice houses. The 2 we're building now will not look identical to the 4 that are already built there, but they will be just as pretty. In most cases, these homes will be a 0 lot line, so they will share a common wall on the inside. It is not a duplex. There are differences to the build process, and there is an imaginary division between the 2. They are 2-story with stairs. If you have a physical limitation where stairs are a problem, this might not be the correct build for you. We do not discriminate based on your familial status, your race, your religion. Everyone is welcome to apply for our program, and we don't base your approval on any of that insignificant factors. Some people have asked about citizenship and applying for our program, so we put this one in here at the end. At least one of the applicants for the program, and there's a difference we'll talk about when we get there, an applicant and a household member. But at least one of the applicants must legally reside in the United States. That's with permanent residency or US citizenship. Whoever has the permanent residency or US citizenship also needs to be the majority income earner. So whoever's the citizen needs to have the income to be able to support the mortgage payment when they purchase the home. There are 3 aspects to being approved for our program. The first is the ability to pay. Remember, we don't give you a free Habitat home. We give you a very, very affordable, which you can't find anywhere else, Habitat mortgage. It currently has 0%, and the monthly payments are no more than 30% of your gross monthly income. Again, based on the incomes we accept, anywhere from $750 to $900 a month. On the front of your application, you will see a box, and we'll hit it again for our friends online when we get to the application. Your household income, so everyone living in your house that has an income source, if your children receive Social Security disability, then counts toward the total household income. The total household income must be between the minimum and the maximum, depending how many people live in your household. Unfortunately, when you purchase an asset like a house, it's now something that an individual or business can attach if you choose not to pay a bill. So We do have a limit where you can't have any more than $1,000 in unpaid collections. That's because we don't want to set you up for failure from the beginning with selling you a house. All these things that weren't cleared up are now attached to it. So it's important that they be under $1,000. And if they're under $1,000, we'll work with you to make sure you have a payment plan to get them paid off before you purchase your home. No unpaid liens or judgments. That gets some people in the child support realm. If you're paying your monthly obligation on time, well, that's factored somewhere else, but if you have a large past due balance, it could be an impact. And no bankruptcy within the last 2 years. The second requirement for being qualified for a program is a need for housing. If you can go get a house on your own in the open market, please do so. Save this opportunity for someone who's unable. Just based on our income alone, if you qualify on the income, it's probably impossible for you to purchase something in the open market right now. Be a first-time homeowner. If you've owned a trailer in a park and rented space, that does not count. So you can still be a first-time homeowner and have rented a unit in a space in a park. Be experiencing some sort of hardship with your housing. Be living in substandard living conditions, busted windows, leaky roofs, sparking electrical, no HVAC. Be living temporarily with families couch surfing. Maybe you're living in a FEMA unit, maybe you're from the Almeda fire situation. Be overburdened by your rent, so paying at least 50% of your monthly income towards your housing payment each month, and that's before taxes. Or being overcrowded, your current living situation doesn't support your family size. We see people 4 and 5 families large having to figure out how to navigate a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom space. And that is one of the qualifications for the program. The third and final aspect, which Joe and Mary Lou can both testify this is the best part, is your willingness to partner. Arguably the most important aspect, being fully involved and committed to the process. Each household is required to contribute 500 hours of sweat equity on construction to your home. We don't expect you to be at the job site every day. We give you ample opportunities to find ways to put your sweat equity in. Each adult homeowner is 200 hours. And then the remainder of the 500 comes from your friends and family, so people in the community that you could get to help you. Be the face of the Habitat program. We'll put you on our website. We may ask you to speak at an event. You'll see a bunch of people walking with us in the Rooster Crow, supporting events and fundraisers that we're at so we can keep offering this program and doing what we do. Attending community events. Sometimes we'll go and talk at churches, businesses. And we also want to prepare you for ultimate success transitioning into becoming a homeowner. It's different than being a renter. So there's a 10-course education process that we put you through. We learn things like budgeting, credit. You go through the home purchasing class with access. We really want to make sure we set you up for success in your newfound homeownership. So it all works together hand in hand. We find community partners to help us with donations. We try to rely on as few federal grants as we possibly can. And we get money from businesses, from foundations, from individuals, from religious organizations. And then we find partner families that are in need of safe and affordable homeownership options. That's hopefully some of you here. And then we do things like find partners like Ron in the back that can come out and lend us their skills and help us build these homes so we can keep it affordable and we don't have to hire market rate help to build homes. So they all really work together to make the magic happen. All right, now we'll go to the application. So you should have the application with you. You have to stick it on this plan. I really don't care. You good? All right. So I'm gonna go through this page by page and we're gonna talk about each section. So you can get any questions answered and we can navigate this process together. You'll see that this is a special application opportunity, like I said on the drop, for 2 3-bedroom homes that are duplex style. And we call that 0 lot line in the industry. These homes require a minimum household size of 3. You must currently reside or work in Jackson County and have done so for the last 12 months. We don't have anything against Josephine County or Grants Pass. We love them dearly. They have their own Habitat for Humanity program for those that didn't know. And we fundraise in Jackson County for Jackson County residents. So that's why that requirement is in place. You must have a total annual household income below the minimum, or excuse me, above the minimum and below the maximum, depending on how many people are in your household. Again, like we talked about earlier, you must legally reside in the United States, so have US citizenship or permanent residence. You must not have owned real property within the last 3 years. Again, manufactured homes in a part do not count. You also probably have access to, and for our friends on Zoom, it's also online, the qualification guide, which has some more detailed information in it regarding credit history, etc. So what do you need to do? You need to completely fill out this application. And every time somebody doesn't read this part, and this is probably one of the most important aspects, please do not give us your original documents. You're not going to get this back. This is an application into a housing program, and whether you're approved or denied, you have to keep your documents on file. So please only turn in photocopies, no original documents. You won't get them back. With your application, I need you to turn in any of these items that are applicable for your situation. Tax returns for the last 2 years. If you do not file tax returns, maybe you're just on Social Security, write me a note that attach the piece of paper to your application that says I did not file taxes. If you file an extension, write me a note. I filed an extension in 2020 for my 2022s. I'll be getting them done XYZ. I didn't file. I haven't filed taxes in 5 years. Put that on there because I'm going to notice it's missing and I'm going to have to ask you. So let's just save the breath and let me know on the jump so we're all on the same page. Pay stubs. If you receive W-2 wages on a frequent basis, I need copies of your 3 months most recent pay stubs. If you receive Social Security, if you receive a pension, if you receive some sort of retirement fund or a survivor's benefit, I need to see an award letter. Not just a 1099 or a tax document, but an award letter that says who you are, how much you get, and it'll likely say for how long you're going to get it. Maybe it's a lifetime benefit, maybe it's renewed every year, but it's called an award letter. And if you need to contact the agency that pays you, they'll know exactly what it is if they call it an award letter. Bank statements for your last 2 months, all of them. If you have an account here and you have money stashed away at Washington Federal or whatever you want to call it now, let's make sure we get that as well. It cannot be a printout summary of your online banking. Now, some of you can download a statement in your online banking and print it. It can't just be the whole little running ledger. That's because it doesn't show your name on it and it doesn't show the proper information that we need to verify. So make sure it's an actual statement. And then I need a copy of your ID. Hopefully, if you've lived in Jackson County for more than 12 months, you have an Oregon ID for the law. But if you don't, that's okay. Just make sure I get a copy of your picture ID. For each applicant, by the way. Again, we put that in there one more time for you. Please don't submit original documents in this application. You won't get them back. package needs to come to Habitat for Humanity, and it can come a few different ways. You can mail it to our post office box, which is on your application. You can bring it into our office, which is open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can send it in the mail. It'll be a little costly and you don't really know if it got there. But you have all of those options available to you. Your deadline to get this done is Friday, July 21st at 5 p.m. We close the doors to the office. Any questions? Give me a call. The first thing you're going to sign is an authorization and release form. This gives Habitat for Humanity the option to verify any information you have in there. It gives us the option to contact the landlord and verify that you put the proper housing payment information. It gives us the ability to contact your employer and verify your employment. It gives us the ability to check your credit reports to make sure you're within the collection standards. I will not contact your employer or your landlord without you knowing. I know there are sensitive situations and I would not want to put you in any sort of trials. So I will call you if we need to verify something regarding your housing or your employer. So you'll know ahead of time, we'll chat about it. So each applicant is going to sign this. At the top, it says, "Dear applicant, we need you to complete this application to determine if you qualify for our program. Fill it out completely and accurately as possible. All information included is kept confidential. If you need more space to answer anything, or if you have an answer that you think that might look bad or be confusing, you can attach 20 sheets of paper to your application, and you'll see each section has a number associated with it. You can say 1C, I want to tell you my gap in employment was because of X, Y, and Z. So feel free to add those to anything. The first section is your applicant information, who you are. What's your residency status? What's your marital status? Are you employed? Are you receiving disability? Are you a student? If you're the only applicant, obviously you skip that. Your mailing address goes here. We will send you approval. We'll send you incomplete letters. All of that goes through the mail. So please make sure we have your correct mailing address. And then your correct contact information, how you'd like us to reach out to you to schedule a meeting or if you're missing something and you have a question. Next is, are you comfortable speaking English or would you prefer a different language? If you prefer a different language, tell us what you'd like to speak. If you have a personal translator that you trust, maybe it's a family member, let us know who they are and how to contact them so we can make sure they're involved if we need to communicate with you throughout the application process. Then we'll see where you can put household members information. This is where you list all your rugrats, your Klingon, your mother-in-laws that may live with you, anybody else in the household that is currently living with you and will be moving with you into the new house. If you're staying with your mother-in-law now, and it's her house, and she's not coming to the new one, don't put her as a member of your household. Here's another thing we talked about earlier, and I'll tell you the more details. Co-applicant means I'm going to buy the house with this person. If Shannon and I are going to be in this house together, and I'm just the new boyfriend, by the grace of God, she's letting me move in so soon, but I'm not going to be on the deed to the house, and I'm not going to buy it with her at the moment. I'm not going to be, you probably should have me on there, because I could pay the bill. But
And meet me a sugar daddy.
yeah, we call a lot of things. The sugar daddy was number one. So I would not be a co-applicant. I would be a member of the house. I do intend to move. It is very important. This is where some people get tripped up. you must disclose their income in the household number section. You must also provide documentation of their income and if they've listed as income in the household section. Again, the maximum household income includes not only the applicants, but all members of the household. So you list them there, their date of birth, and again, if they have income, tell us what their income is right down here on the next page. And don't forget that we need proof. Well, on some pages. This is where we find out where you're living. This is where your current physical residence is. Remember when the first page we got your mailing address, maybe you have a PO box. This is your current residence. Maybe you had to split up. Maybe your husband and 2 boys are living with his mom, and you and your 2 daughters are living with your mom. But that's just because there was no space, and together you're gonna be back in this household. So you're gonna check that box and let us know you might be living separately. I wanna know how long you've been there. I wanna know what you currently pay. And I need to know if you are receiving any assistance for your monthly housing payment. If you've been at your current residence less than 2 years, please complete section 2B and tell us what your previous residence was. If you are receiving subsidized housing, if you have a section 8 voucher, you're a HUD client, please be sure to let us know what agency you're working with and what your subsidy you're receiving is. For a lot of people, their reason for needing a new home or needing a Habitat home has to do with utilities or being overburdened with the cost of heating and air conditioning. So we're going to ask you, what are your utility bills in your current house? Then we ask you, this is the most important one. Not most important, but very important. What is your current housing situation? Do you live with somebody else? How many bedrooms do you have? What other rooms are in your house? And then this section right here is probably the #1 place that you're going to need to add additional pieces of paper. I have had people write 5-page novels. It's honestly, it's not going to move you to a place where you're going to have better selection opportunity because you can write a beautiful novel. Like Joe's wife, she can write a novel. And it's good because we get to know, we get connected, but it's not going to help if you don't know how, if you're not a creative writer, don't worry about it. Just let us know what's wrong with where you live now. And again, attach a separate sheet of paper if you need to. And then why you need a Habitat house. What housing insecurities or challenges have you faced? What banks have denied you? Why did they deny you? What house prices have you looked at? How many realtors told you there's nothing that you can do right now? Tell us that information there as well. Then we want to know where's your employment. If you're unemployed, say you're unemployed. Let us know what you're receiving from on a monthly basis for income. And then we're going to tell you that we want to know 2 years worth of employment history, starting most recent and moving backwards. If you have any gaps in your employment history, there were more than 1 month within those last 2 years, use this section down here, 3B, to tell us why. Had a high-risk pregnancy, needed to be out of work for 90 days. No big deal. Again, it just helps us when we review your application to say, I see something different, and this is the reason why. If you have a co-applicant, this is going to be where you can put your co-applicant's employment information. Again, for 2 years, and if they're missing any gaps, let them know. Then we want to know, what does your income consist of? Are you getting employment? Are you getting alimony? Are you getting child support? Are you getting SSI, SSD, or other? Let us know what you receive on a total monthly basis. Let us know what your co-applicant receives on a total monthly basis. And then I told you earlier, this is on a different page. I lied. I don't do that very often. But This is where you can put the income for other people in your household. Again, Shannon and I are gonna live together, and Eve doesn't get to be on the house, but she has to disclose my income. So down here, as a member of the household, non-applicant, she's gonna put Brandon Tom's age, 22.
Sorry, that one got me.
$1 million. At least she liked in the age, not with it. All right, then we have some yes and no questions, both for you and your co-applicant. Do you have any debt because of a court decision against you? Have you declared bankruptcy in the last 7 years? Have you had a foreclosure in the last 7 years? Are you currently involved in a lawsuit? Have you owned property in the last 3 years? Are you currently paying alimony or child support? That's very important. Do you currently have past due child support? Are you a veteran? Have you lived or worked in Jackson County for less than 12 months? And then did you lose your residence in the 2020 Almeda fire? If you answer yes to any of these questions, what do you think we're gonna have you do?
Write about it.
Answer them on a separate sheet of paper. Our homeowners are enrolled in something called the IDA program. It stands for Individual Development Account. You are lucky to live in the state of Oregon. We have the best individual development account in the United States. What that means is, for every dollar you save, the state of Oregon is going to use a pool of funds to match that with $5. So if you save $1,200, which you will, because it will be your goal as you complete the process. When you save $1,200, they're going to match that times 5, so they're gonna give you $6,000 towards the closing of your home. It's a wonderful program. We automatically enroll you in that program. If you call Access today and you wanna know about the IDA program, there's probably a huge waiting list. We've got you covered. So, your skin in the game beyond your $500 of sweat equity throughout the year process while we build your house, Rogue River, probably a little quicker, is to save $1,200 in your IDA account. This says, are you willing to participate in the IDA program? Then we want to make sure you're not a millionaire. So even though you're giving us your bank statements, you're going to tell us, yep, I have an account. I have a checking account and I have a savings account. Here's where they are and here's how much is in there. And then we're gonna ask you, we're gonna reiterate the sweat equity policy. We're gonna let you know if you have a physical condition that limits what you can and can't do for sweat equity, we're gonna work with you. It doesn't matter. You'll do things throughout the build process. I think Joe left, Mary Lou can tell you. You will work with tools you never thought you were gonna work with. You'll probably get up on scaffolding. You'll get over your fear of heights. But if you have a physical limitation or a disability, we'll definitely find an opportunity for you to engage in the process and complete your sweat equity. So here's where you're gonna certify, yep, I'm excited and I'm ready to put in the work. Then you're also going to attest that this is gonna be your primary residence. I am not a builder of income properties. I am not concerned with helping your family procure a rental. This is going to be your primary residence and it's something you agree to at every step of the process, even when you purchase your home. So this says, yes, this is gonna be my primary residence. Then we just like to capture some information. Did you attend an orientation either virtually to our friends on Zoom, or did you come see us in person in Rogue River? Yeah, tell us when you did. You do not, for those of you watching this in the future on YouTube, you do not have to attend an orientation to apply for our program. The video of tonight's presentation will be on our website so people can reference the information, but you do not have to attend this orientation in order to qualify. Section 9 is another opportunity that you may need to attach another sheet of paper. And this is where you can share with us any disability or medical requirement that we should know about. Does the home need to be wheelchair accessible? Again, Probably not something I can accommodate very well, knowing we have to build a two-story property, home on the property. But do you need special door letters? Do you have, we built for blind man? I mean, just, and honestly, if you're concerned that this could negatively impact your ability to be selected, don't put it on there. Tell me about it after you're selected. But this is just an opportunity for you to tell us upfront something that we can do. Maybe we're at a stage where we can change a finish or move a doorway in order to support a need you may have during the house build process. So it's really important to put that there. And again, feel free to attach another sheet of paper if you need to. And then we ask for some references. Give us your full legal name. This is not something, I'm not gonna say it's not something you can't do alone because I've seen people do it. It's a lot of work. Not only do you develop a new community, right, Mary Lou, a very close community, not only with other partner families, but with our volunteers. But you already have communities that support you. And we want to help you bring them and engage them in this process. So who are they? Who's your church family that you're going to engage in this process? Who are your work coworkers? Who are your civic clubs you're in? Maybe your daughters are in Girl Scouts together and you have a really good friend. Who's going to support you in this process? And who can vouch that, you know what? I think Holly is a really hardworking gal and she's really ready for this program and I know she's going to be successful. Who could vouch for you and share the kind of success you'll find with this program? The thing you're going to sign there is a privacy statement. It says that we're going to keep your information private. We're not going to sell it. We're not going to profit on it. But we do need to collect that information from you. Number 11, it asks you for some personal information. I need to update this for the gender portion, but what is your ethnicity, your race origin, your marital status, your date of birth again? This has absolutely nothing to do with your approval into our program. What this does is proves to the government, if we're audited, that we are not being biased based on someone's ethnicity or some perceived information that we've collected in this application. So when they come back and they say, show me all the applications you had for Rogue River 2023, we can say, here's the mix of who applied and here's who we selected and why. So we can choose that we're not being biased towards any one group. If you don't want to fill it out, that page, don't do it. No big deal. The last is a signature of authenticity. But this says that everything you said in this application is true. That means when you said your boyfriend that lives with you has no income, that's the truth. We usually find out about it, so if that does happen, please don't put yourself in a position to be eliminated later. But this says everything I've told you is true to the best of my knowledge. I've given you all true and copies of original documents for you to review. You understand that you're submitting yourself and everyone in your household to criminal background checks. You understand that we're going to pull your credit report for the applicants, the household, and this gives us the ability to do so. I'll tell you, this is the #1 page people forget to sign. Don't let it be you. Then at the end, this is not really part of your application. You can rip this off and keep it, put it on the fridge to keep you excited, whatever you'd like to do. But this just quickly tells you about the application process. Hopefully ignore the 2 to 4 months. We're going to try to book through this process in about 60 days. So the first step is attending orientation. That's tonight, which again is not required, but viewing the orientation. Then you need to complete an application before the deadline and get it turned in, both your application and copies of your supporting documentation. Please work hard to make sure that you are submitting a complete and accurate application. Don't forget a signature spot. Don't forget to give me copies of your ID. Don't omit your pay stubs. Make sure you have it all. If you do not have it all, you're gonna have a letter that says, you didn't send me this, you didn't tell me why you didn't have it, so I need you to cough it up. And you have 15 days to do so. If you do not provide us what we're missing or contact me about why we didn't receive it within 15 days, you're automatically denied for the program. It's very important. And let's save the time. If everybody submitted completed applications, we can just book right through that. We don't have to worry about the extra 15 days. So please know that get them turned in on time. We'll review the application, and the first thing we do is make sure your household meets that minimum and maximum. Once we know if you've met the minimum and maximum, we pull your credit report. I don't want to waste pulling your credit report if you don't meet the income requirements. Once we pull your credit report, we're going to make sure you have the ability to afford a new mortgage payment. We're going to make sure you don't have collections or judgments out there more than the maximum standard. If everything checks out with your credit report and you meet the income guidelines, you're going to get a letter from us. The letter says that very soon, these volunteers from Family Services are going to call you to set up a site visit. We're going to come to your house. We're going to verify what you said in your application. Does she really not have a refrigerator? Is there really mold in the bathroom? Are they really sharing a house with 8 other people? We're going to verify that information just to make sure what you've shared with us is true. At that point, we'll also ask for verification, like verifying any citizenships, verifying birth certificates, so the little rugrats you put on your application really are yours. Not sure you want to claim somebody else's, but. Then once we do your site visit, we'll determine based on need, who qualifies and who has the biggest need. Then we'll invite you in for a partnership interview. We'll get to know you, make sure that this is something you're ready for and you're a qualified candidate. Then these people review the application, these Family Services volunteers, they review the application and they make a recommendation to our board of directors with who we'd like to select as a partner for whatever bills you've applied for. Again, we'd love to get through this in 60 days. So work really hard to make sure you give us a complete application and